Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and today we're going to be reading. I was going to say recording. We are recording, technically. Let me fix this a little bit. Um, Reading and recording, right? Trailer Park Warlock, episode 60. So, picking up from where we last left off in Trailer Park Warlock, Darla and Pointu have basically gathered all these objects that they need to do a particular magical rite to fix everything that's gone wrong, basically, in the Will of Abandon. As so many of these characters have been stuck in this magic spell that's basically malfunctioned. So let's see where this goes from here, right? And to start, we got this mosquito here. Buzz. About to suck some blood. My word, the mosquitoes this evening are craven. Smack. I want to thank also, there was a reader, because originally this line was, the mosquitoes this evening are brazen. And it turns out I had been using the wrong term. Craven was the right one. Anyway, if you ever watch this, thanks. I appreciate it when readers kind of do my proofreading for me. Don't you know, Henry? That's how they tax the vampires around here. Can't keep those profits all to yourself. Flick. Not a problem, mate, because I smell a fresh barrel right in front of me. Blah. The irony is not lost on me, you two. I don't mean to spoil your shenanigans, but there's much to divulge from our sojourn, Baker. What I presume to be Jack's highest will has been let loose. Is that what you call that? He came here earlier to take Darla with him, wherever the hell that is. Schmack. This is one of my favorite panels from this episode, by the way. This is just, it was a really fun panel to draw, and the expression is just, it's classy. And then Darla came back just a moment ago to take my hat, probably for a spell of some sort. Crick. Yes, Jack took my monocle as well. Lucky me, I don't have anything to steal but the sleeve on my flesh. What do you suppose this could be for? An invocation? I'd reckon it might have something to do with what's going on with that moon up yonder. More buggery, no doubt. Oh my. Jack, I do hope you know what you're doing. Trailer Park Warlock, the 8 Roads of Abandon. So let's find out what Jacques Pointu is doing. And so I don't know if, not necessarily everybody's picked this up, but basically, Henry and Leah referred to Jacques as Jack, I guess as their birdification of his name. I must admit, madame, I do not know exactly what I am doing. But you have your instructions, no? Yeah. But really? You're just winging this thing? One cannot fly without wings, mon ami. So we fly as best we can. And here I was thinking your halo came with a doctoral thesis in arcanomancy. I guess they don't hand them out like they used to. Alright, I'm ready whenever you are. C'est bon. And so, a bunch of magical stuff happens in these next couple of panels. All this is, not even loosely, I'd say, very much inspired by real world, I don't know how else to put it, real world occult, magical rites, what have you. A light, blazing pentagram, extend, 6-ray star, foom. Of course, we have the grapefruit. Empower, fruit of the sacred garden. Thwap. More magical things happening. Complete that which remains unfinished. Make whole that which is cloven. Lift that which must rise. Repress that which must sink. Return that which is lost. By the way, this is this was a fun panel to make, and I like the effect that ended up coming out about it, where you have all these faces of each person in the Will of Abandon. It's just, I don't know, it came out really. I'm chuffed about it. I'm glad the way that it came out. Zrak. Bury that which is dead. Zrak. Birth that which is ready to live. Reveal the 8 roads of abandon. The 8 are one. The one cannot be known. Unfold the unknown. So Darla is now starting to engage her Will of Abandon sigil. Zrak. Lots of things happening. Thoom. Ah, hell. Waboom. So basically this like manifold they've been standing on is starting to wobble. Things went wrong. Holy! This is surely Pointu. Sutalor! And they lose all their objects. Oh no. Did we break it? Merde. Trapped forever. So, thoughts. Yeah, this episode, like I think I probably said this last time. These next 3 episodes are very much I'm trying to finish the story, right? I'm trying to finish this season, and I'm just making sure to cross the T's, dot the I's. So especially, I like this episode a lot. I feel like next episode there are lots of aspects that I like about it, and we'll get to it. I was just gonna say it feels a little bit rushed. Thinking about it now, this episode doesn't feel rushed in comparison. And we'll see how y'all feel about it when we get to it. Main thing for me is just in terms of pacing. There's one major big thing that happens, right? And the whole episode's dedicated to that. And I feel like previous episodes, there might have been more stuff that was happening. And so granted, a lot of things that kind of lead to that happening, I'm running short on time. That's one. You know, when you're producing a story for weekly consumption, you're producing by the week, right? Like, especially for these episodes, maybe 7 to 8 days, which is a pretty short timeline for what all is entailed. And I did find myself pretty strapped for time. So I was just like, okay, every episode, I just need to make sure that I'm getting these major things done so we can move the story along. And it works out. It totally works out. And I feel like it works out even better reading it as like a binge, you know, like when you have all the episodes set up already. I know that a lot of people who are getting into Trailer Park Warlock now, like especially season 2 now, after everything's been kind of already put out there, they're really enjoying it and saying that, you know, I can't stop reading it, which is, you know, very validating, very cool thing to read people saying. But I do realize this might have been kind of, I don't know, not stressful, but like not quite enough to bite into if you're reading it a week at a time, because it is like it's a large period of time to wait for the next update. And that was something that I had to learn when writing season 2 is you have to be careful with how much and how little you give readers between installments. Because if you give too much, I don't know, part of me is like thinking, if you give can you give too much? Because then you give them a lot of time to think over what happened. But I kind of assume that the way that most people read webtoon comics or webtoon stories when they're doing the weekly updates, I'm assuming that the way that they read it is like they read through it, they go to their next thing that they're going to read, and on and on. And, you know, if it's not like their highest priority story, they're probably going to forget a lot of what they read in the previous episode. And then when they come to the next, the next installment, episode 61 or whatever, they might forget a lot of what happened. And so that's like a challenge that comes with doing serials, is figuring out like what it is an appropriate amount of information to give within a story, and how much should the story be dedicated to just like character interaction, or humor, or just particular little smaller events, because those are the things that often stand out more within a given installment. And sometimes the plot can get lost, especially if you do a lot of plot. You know what I mean? Unless like somebody's really into the story. So that's the other part of it, right? And I certainly have a lot of readers who are like, especially with season 2, are like fully engaged in the plot, especially as it got more complicated, which is interesting to me because it was like some readers got less engaged as the plot got more complicated, and some readers got more engaged. And you can't control how an audience or how particular readers feel about what you're making. There's nothing that you can do about that. You just kind of have to go with your gut, go with your instincts, and determine for yourself what is the way that you want to go. And that is ultimately the decision that I made with season 2, was I'm going to go with my gut on this, and I'm going to just make it as I see it in my mind, as I want it. I know that this diverges so much from season 1 of Trailer Park Warlock, which was more like everything was kind of self-contained between arcs, little mini arcs within the season, and everything was more like hinged on the humor and the world building, the character building. And this is like, suddenly we have a big plot, suddenly we have all these like entangled and very nuanced and complicated ideas that are also getting introduced into the whole thing. And I can see how it turned off a lot of people. I mean, I can, like anybody who would come into this episode without reading anything previously would have no idea what the hell is going on, right? And even then, people who do know what's going on were still kind of, I think by this episode, not so much, but previous episodes were confused by it. So for me, I look at it and I kind of like ascertain it and I go, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, right? And try to implement that into season 3. And we'll get to that, and technically I've already gotten to that for several episodes of season 3, which will be kind of confusing. But so it goes. Nevertheless, my whole point is my thoughts on this season, as we're getting towards the end of it, is that I really appreciate my own ambition in writing it, but I'm also seeing sort of where that ambition, where the rubber hit the road in terms of my ambition, like where I wasn't quite ready for what I was wanting to do. And there were other reasons why things kind of got more complicated on the road as well. Especially I was kind of getting the sense, and also in having conversation with my editor, about how a lot of my readership had dropped off since, the middle of the season had started. And so basically I took that as like, oh, my readership, I think was cut in half. Which, pretty negative response, right? Which sucked, because I was like, to me, I was like, this is the best story I've ever written. Yes, I'm not doing, it's not perfect. I'm making mistakes here and there, but this is the best thing I've ever written. This is the most ambitious thing I've ever written. This is the most interesting thing I've ever written. I don't want to stop. I want to finish it, which I did. But what I was thinking, and feeling and concerned about was like, I was kind of being pushed away from what I was really fully engaged in. Nevertheless, it worked out. It is what it is. I still like it. I still stand by it, which is why I'm reading it with y'all, right? And I'm hoping y'all are enjoying it too. I'm sure you, at this point, would you even be watching it if you weren't enjoying it? Unless you're just into Schadenfreude or I don't know, masochistic like that. Some people are. Anyway, if you want to talk about this story, anything else that I work on, BATMONSTER, or whatever it is, doesn't even have to be necessarily Trailer Park Warlock, and just be like questions you have about making webtoons, or about webtoon in general, or about art, or whatever. You can talk to me on Twitter. It's at MattJRainwater. On Instagram, it's at Matthew Rainwater. Patreon, it's patreon.com/MattJRainwater. If you are enjoying these videos, please give it a like, subscribe if you will, and till next time, hope you're having a good day, and we will talk soon. All right, bye.